Yes, by the end of this module 4C, you should be able to establish qualitative data collection methods, understand the different methods as well, and also be able to design an instrument. Um, in this video, I will be explaining to us what qualitative data collection instruments means, the types of data collection instruments or methods rather, and we'll be comparing, what this means also as well to our several program objectives and indicators. And lastly, we will just quickly do a case study, look at our case study, then be able to design an instrument for the case study. So that's how this will go in this short video. So it's important to note that yes, the major instrument for qualitative data collection is yourself, that is collecting the data. So it's the data collector. Remember that in quantitative data collection, you need people to respond, right? But it's different here because you will have to make judgments based on the perceptions, the observations of people. You would have collected it, but you now make inferences using what they have told you. So you are the last person that decides what is obtainable, what you need to show or present in terms of findings. So, and I mean, that's the argument between people that does quantitative kind of data collection and qualitative data collection. So it's important to know that. So what are the methods? Actually, let me state that yes, there are two methods that you can use, and one is yes via interviews, and the other one is observation in terms of method. But we have different types of interviews, and which you might already know, but we'll just explain a little bit of them as it were here. So, we've tried categorizing them. That's what this means, qualitative interviews. But so you have, qualitative interviews. Yeah, it collects knowledge of your object. So those are your participants. Those that benefited from your program, or the people that did not benefit but knows about the program. And you can have narrative interviews as an example of it. A narrative interview is the one you have with experts, right? You do not necessarily have an instrument for this. You just ask them a question and they start to tell you what they know about what or their experience actually as it concerns your program or your project or the events that you're carrying out. So we call it narrative interviews. This is what journalists, people that does biographies use. So you can have guided interviews, which some people call structured interview, right? So you would have a guide which you will use, and you must follow all through the guide, right? You must follow all the questions in the guide. So in your in the classroom, we have already posted an example of guides in it. So please make use of it, refer to it as well, and we hope it will be useful to you. You could have expert interviews also, which can be structured or semi-structured, right? It could be unstructured or semi-structured. So you look for specialists, who are privileged, right? They are private information and they can discuss with you, give you insights, elucidate what you need, for example, about your own program. For example, if you're talking about increasing the number, if your project focuses on increasing the number of children with disabilities on basic education, I mean, in the sense of expert interviews, for you to, let's say you want to know if your program has actually increased the number of children with disabilities in basic education, you might think about speaking to someone at the Universal Basic Education Commission, for example, as an expert. So he can tell you, oh, maybe the work that you're doing has added to the number of children with disabilities in basic education. So you look for experts to do that, and the instrument you use is an unstructured, is a semi-structured guide, or you use an, what we mean by unstructured means what you just have just one question, right? Like, oh, um, sir, could you tell us about the status of admission of children with disabilities in basic education in the country or in the state, and the expert starts to tell you. If you have clarification questions, you can jump in, ask the person, or you can use a semi-structured, which is like, yes, as some kind of guide, but based on the feedback the expert gives you, you can ask questions, more questions as well. You could have focus interviews, which focuses on particular situations, um, girl child. So if you talk about girl child, you interview someone about the girl child issue. You want to talk about female genital mutilation, that's a specific issue as well. So this could also be open, could be structured, could be unstructured, or semi-structured as well. So I'm mentioning structured and semi because in some literatures, actually, qualitative interviews would also be categorized as structured, unstructured, or semi-structured interviews. So it's important to note that as well. So let's go into yeah. So so if you're focusing on collecting data from groups, right? You could have group interviews. So for example, youth groups, you can think about this. So group interviews could be yeah, just youth groups or market women that you encounter that were in your program, or maybe in the beneficiary community that you just want to speak to. You could have so that this is just an interview, right? You could then have discussions, which is, yes, discussions between different individual and group opinions. So you might bring market women, you might bring youth groups in a stakeholder table format, and they discuss on issues or programs or opinions about your program. You could have focus groups. We call it focus because um, yeah, you can use this directly for your participants if in your in your program you have different groups. So for example, maybe you have young people that are between 15 to 30 that are living in urban community. You might want to pick maybe 5 out of them and invite them to a focus group discussion. On another day, you focus on, oh, youth groups that are between 20 to 35 but are staying in rural communities, and you bring them into a roundtable conversation um, about their, maybe their situation or their experience about your program, or their opinion as well. So we call all these screens the characteristics that I've mentioned. So a focus group focuses on having a particular characteristics within a group in a discussion, a conversation, which is structured, right? Yes, it is always structured. You've already follow a particular type of you follow some questions. There's a guide which has each of the questions, and that's what you will definitely follow. So it's not unstructured, it's a structured kind of interview that you conduct with focus groups. Um, so this wraps interviews, right? You could see different types of interviews, but I mean, like I said, some people categorize them as structured interviews, which means that yes, you already have your questions, you do not add any question during the interview. You can have unstructured. Unstructured means that um, yes, you're not following any guide, but you're just interviewing the person based on the conversation. You are able to change or tweak the questions. But you could have semi-structured, which means yes, you have a guide while you're going for the interview. Um, so you have a guide, but the responses from your target person could allow you to ask more questions. So that's what it means. That's the difference between those three. So, but in here, I mean, we have tried categorizing it into guided interviews, expert interviews, focus interviews, problem-centered interviews, um, also focus group discussion. So you have the group method of interviewing people or participants. So group discussions, focus groups, and group interviews. So the other type of qualitative method is observation. So which, yeah, you might know also as ethnography. Um, so you do not necessarily want to listen to subjective opinions because you interviewing people, collecting their notes and all means yes, there's to a larger extent subjectivity because it is their own opinion. But in this case, observation, you, like we said, you as the person collecting the data, this burden is now on you to make judgment, right? So you look at behaviors, interactions, actions during an event, in a program, and this can take different dimensions. Also, it could be structured or unstructured. Structured means that, yes, for example, um, you want to observe your activities, so like a training or a workshop or a rally or a sensitization program. um, you would have a checklist of everything. Oh, okay, maybe the agenda. Are they following the agenda? You tick it. Did they provide food for participants? You tick it. Was there an introductory statement? You tick it. So that's structured. Um, you can have it unstructured, which means you don't have any checklist. So you're just taking notes as things come. Could be overt or covert. So like a detective, right? So some could be they did not know. So it means they don't know. The participants, the program organizers do not know that um, you are coming to visit and you're there maybe as a participant, but also that you are actually observing. You came to observe. So um, and you can be a participant. It can be participatory and non-participatory, yes, which means you can observe a program while you are also a participant. So you are also interacting. Non-participant means yes, you're not interacting at all in the processes of the activities. So you can think about that. So I mean, It could just simply means, oh, an organization that is distributing, yeah, maybe lunchbox or food materials. Um, you can go as somebody that collects it, right? Collects the food, but meanwhile you're an observer. Um, yes, so that's participatory. And the other one is if you're not participating at all, you're just watching as well. So I mean, you can have these different types of methods, which also is active and passive, right? Um, that you can use, and it's important to state that in observation, the instruments that you use could be a checklist, notes. So when you take notes, that's what it means. It could be notes, it could be checklists. So those are two instruments that, yeah, you can use for interviews. The instruments could be, yeah, a semi-structured interview guide, which you will see in some few minutes now. So qualitative methods, just to wrap things up, is either it's an interview or you're thinking about observation. There's still other ones, but these are the major ones that you can use, major methods that you can use in qualitative data collection. What is most important is that you know that this depends on your indicator. Most times when you have a non-numerical indicator, then you're talking about using qualitative methods. Let's see what our learning task is all about. You should go ahead and develop a semi-structured interview guide based on your case study. Awesome. So you would remember that we are here, right? So this is where we stopped the last time. Like we said, this is a module 4B and C, the practical side of things. So like you're implementing what you did in 4A, right? So if we need to look here and find out if we have a qualitative method, data collection method. Yes, we do have here narrative interviews, key informants. What I'll do now is change this so that maybe we can use it as a guide, or let's go to participatory budgeting. We didn't do it on this anyways, but we can. So let's try and wrap this. Voila. Yep. So here we have one case of partnerships between CBOs and LGs. This will be in cases of participatory budgeting. So this will definitely take the form of qualitative data collection method, right? So the source of this will be participants, right? And in this case, participants, CBOs and the local government authority, right? I do not want us to go into this, so but it means, yes, there's a target. We want to know if so what we're trying to do is elucidate if there were partnerships that were created based on our program, based on what we have developed, the activities that we have done, train CBOs, organized town hall meetings, and also with the manual. So increase collaboration. So something like this also would also be, so let me say CBOs LGA, our source. So these can all be interviews, right? I would say semi-structured interviews and semi-structured. So, I mean, this has a whole lot of non-numerical indicators. This also semi-structured interviews. So let's take one of these and then use it as our case study. I won't use this. I mean, we've used this before. We did this with quantitative. So let's see if semi-structured interviews and CBUs. So we'll be good to go to our, let's go to a classroom for week 2, then go to 4C. Yep, so this is 4C. Oops, view assignment. So this is what we have for the week, right? I mean for 4C, we're supposed using this template, right? So we're supposed to use this template that has already been created. So all you have to do is open the template. Let's see how the template looks like. Good. So you have your organization. You're supposed to put the project goal. Then who is the target of the interview? So in essence, who are you interviewing? Is it a program manager? Is it a board member? Is it a woman group representative? So you have to think about that very well. So using our case study, so you can see that it is not just about you just creating an interview. You also need to look back at your results statement, your joint working groups, your indicator as well. So I want to know, that's what it means. I want to know, maybe in this conversation that we'll have with a CBO, one of this community-based organization representative, if they are now joint working groups, right? Let me complete this. When we will collect data, right? What we can do is, let's increase this a little bit. When will this data, we will collect data staff X. So I'm staff X at this moment. So I'm staff X. That's end of program, right? So we'll finish the program and we want to see, yeah, I mean, so what I want to see in this conversation is somebody saying, oh, yes, at the start there were no collaboration, but this program has allowed, yeah. Also this can, one can tweak this into a quantitative indicator, which could be the number of collaborations, right? Number of collaborations within groups, stakeholder groups, and all. And you will have the question in your quantitative collection instrument, which is your survey, right? And ask such questions. So so I have the CBO of a semi-structured, and I'm doing this at the end of the program. So let me come to the guide, name of the organization, Calada Foundation, project goal. Remember that we have We were explicit on this. We have our project goal already: increase participatory budget in Sokoto State, right? Good. Target of interview. Since I already say my daughter data source, so I mean it is important you don't put program participants. If you know your participants in your program, please put them here, so that makes it easier for you. Using program participants like we used here. Did we? Yeah, women beneficiaries, that was specific. Women part, okay, so good. So it's good to be specific. Let's assume we're speaking with the CBO representatives, or maybe you say program managers if it's their program managers that you invited. Yeah, I mean, we've already almost done this for you, but remember that this is an instrument which the interviewer is supposed to have to be looking at. It's semi-structured. So it starts with an introduction. So in terms of my name is XYZ, write the purpose of the interview. Yeah, this interview is meant, the purpose of this interview is to yeah, make us understand how the program has increased participatory budgetary in Sokoto State, and this, in knowing this, it will allow us to also be able to learn from the program and use it to design new programs and all. So I mean, you can continue in that format, and maybe so also to let them know that, oh, the responses are not going to be attached to them, and that yes, you want to record. Let the person know that, oh, you want to record, and immediately you transcribe for reporting, you will delete the recording, like you're not using the recording. So you can have, some people might say, oh, I would not like to. Some people might say yes, so you need to seek their consent first, and that's what all this introductory part is all about, right? Then you have your introductory stimulus. So this is how you're supposed to complete it. So like what is your name and where you work. So I mean, this can be A, this can be B. How long have you been working with the CBO, right? This allows you to know if this person can actually speak about your program or not. So you can go to the planning state of things, and also think about how, so this is about planning, it's about the program, right? So one question could be, how were you chosen for the program, right? That's one. People so we were talking about the participatory budgeting program now. I mean, having A or B doesn't, you can actually just ask, oh, can you tell us about yourself, right? That could be right. Planning stage question. can you uh, so you're expecting that the CBO knows, right? This is just his own perspective you want to get, but these are the main questions you need to look out for. I mean, if he's not answering it in this, then A or B should then come in. That's what we mean. Um, this could be tell us generally what you think about communications within the program, right? So you can go to, so don't forget to, yeah, ask for examples of communications, what, how they communicated well. Yeah, be able to ask for examples, very important, and some why questions, why things were like that. Oh, they only informed us like a day before, and oh, so why do you think that happened? Then you move to sources uh, and difficulties, right? Um, so this is about um, so how's the program affected you, right? So people start to talk on and on. Um, so you think about also examples, very important. These are where you take stories of change, examples, why things were like that. Then yeah, the person would have said some other. So what didn't you like about? Remember, you're watching out for for things about collaboration, right? So um, then comes in. So you're supposed to prepare this for your own case study, right? As the interview guide for your own case study. So in terms of um, impacts, yes, think about things like how would you assess the broader social and environmental impacts of program. Yeah, it could be something like this. Um, this could be a general question, right? So put it here. Then what are the things you need to look out for? Yeah, I mean, here he should mention about collaboration, right? So clarify things in terms of dimension and indicators. So like he might have mentioned, yes, yeah, but this program has led to, yes, proper budgeting and the communities working with the local government. And talk about be specific about collaboration, things that might have resulted into them collaborating, right? If that actually happened. So that's why dimensions, in terms of dimension and indicators. So also, are there other unintended effects? So things that were not planned before that happened. So those are stories that were never thought about in our theory of change, but actually happened. Then you move to um, the future planning. So things like what would you like to see in the next design, in the next design for the program, right? Or target groups to be included. So like those are the things you want them to mention and you want to see. So this is just a sample of a semi-structured guide, and this is just it. So you can tweak your own based on who your target is, who are you talking to. For example, if you have CBOs that needs to do a step down training or so, then you need to think about how you want to put it inside your semi-structured guide, right? Um, so just to put things into perspective, so that's a semi-structured interview. If I mean if it's a narrative interview, you don't need a guide. You just need one question, and you start tweaking things based on your conversation with the experts. If it is structured interview, which means you do not necessarily need, you are not going to use tweak the question. So I don't need A or B. So it's just one question, work one question, and that's it. That's a structured interview. So this is what it looks like. I hope you'll be able to develop your own semi-structured interview guide as well. Once you're done, just let's see, you just close it. Once you come back here, it's already saved in here. You turn it in. All right, you turn it in, and if you have comments about this, is very important, about, yes, let us know for private comments, for class comments, or you can help the class as well, like, oh, we did this with 5 members of our groups, and also oh, we were able to quickly administer it for one of our programs. Give us comment. Let's get comments in the class. This is for privates. So you turn it in. Once you're done with your team member, don't forget you're supposed to do all the tasks with your other colleague, but you're supposed to submit the same thing, right? And also do it with your larger team in your organization. So for learning to continue within the organization, that's what it means. So let me turn this in. Yeah, blah blah blah. Turn in. So I've done that in just before the due date. So from module 1, 2, 3, we've discussed data collection processes, and we've looked at data sources, quantitative data collection method, qualitative data collection method. We've been able to develop a collection plan. This is more than a collection plan anyways. Remember, I said it because we already have our goals, results, indicators on it, and there's a reason for that, because we are completing an M&E framework, which is the main output of this training, right? For each organization. So and that's why we're putting things in this perspective. So from here is your data collection plan, which we have filled. We have administered a survey. We have done a semi-structured interview guide as well. So in this module 4A, 4B, and 4C, and that's why we separated it into 3 as well. And this is the last of the series of data collection processes. I hope this has been so super useful for you. Please, if you have questions, comment, put it in the class comment box, and we'll be happy to respond to you. So these are good books. If you want, you can take a look at, and also that there are some websites here that you can also take a look at. Will be useful for you. And based on that, I want to say thank you so much for listening. I hope this has been useful for you. We'll see you in Module 5, where we'll focus on planning data analysis. Um, Let me say all the best in your learning task. And yes, we'll see in Module 5. Bye for now.